Greetings, friends. There are many signs in the world today that Mashiach is very close. First, the Gadol Hador, the greatest rabbi of the generation, Reb Chaim Kanievsky, Zecher Tzadik Livracha, has left this world. In ancient Egypt, Moshe Rabbeinu Moses appeared only after all the progenitors of the 12 tribes had died. The world had become empty and was ready either for catastrophe or redemption. Our world is now empty and waiting for Mashiach. It resembles events in my own life. On January 10th, 1966, an episode I describe in my book, From Central Park to Sinai, How I Found My Jewish Soul. On that day, January 10th, 1966, either my world was going to collapse or salvation would come. This is where we are now in the world. Number 2, Haman II has emerged in Russia. Events seem to indicate that the moment has arrived, which is described in the Gemara in Sanhedrin as a sign of imminent redemption. Quote, the Holy One, blessed is he, will appoint a king whose decrees are as harsh as those of Haman. The war in Ukraine is so arbitrary and without reason that it seems to be emanating directly from heaven. This does not mean that the Russian leader is without blame, but only that events are clearly decreed from above, with consequences far beyond the understanding of those involved. Number 3, the current government of Israel has declared war on Torah and those who live it. This is part of the descent of the world, the entire world, to the contemporary equivalent of Mem Tes Shari Tuma, the 49th level of impurity, which is the condition which preceded our liberation from Egypt and the giving of the Torah on Har Sinai. The only thing which protects the world in general, and Israel in particular, is Torah. And this government hates Torah. Number 4, the nations of the world have descended to a level of immorality which echoes the days preceding the Great Flood, in which the entire world was destroyed, except for those few who clung tightly to Hashem. Number 5, this is the year of Shemitah. The Gemara says there will be a war in the 7th year, followed by Ben David, the coming of Mashiach ben David. in the following year. We are now in the 7th year of the Shemitah cycle. There is war. And I would not be surprised if the war in Ukraine leads to a much wider conflict, which could reach every corner of the world. As in the days of Noah and the great flood, mankind has proved itself unable to run the world. Salvation will come from heaven, but only if those on earth merit salvation. In the writings of Yirmiyahu Hanavi, Jeremiah, which we read as the Haftarah for Parshas Matos, the prophet says, quote, "From the north will the evil be released upon all the inhabitants of the land." This is the scenario for the final confrontation before the coming of Mashiach. The troubles today are coming from the north. Look at the map. You'll see that Russia dominates the north. Russia is now trying to extend its reach over the entire world as Haman did. Rabbi Elia Shvei Zatzal is reported to have said, shortly after the events of September 11th, 2001, that if Rabbi Avraham Cohen Palm, who had died 2 weeks earlier, had still been alive, the World Trade Center attack could never have taken place. Because Rabbi Palm's shmira, the protection afforded by his presence, would have prevented it. It would not be a stretch to say that the protection afforded by the presence of Rab Chaim Kanievsky Zatzal has so far protected the world from extreme danger, but now he is no longer alive, and we are in terrible danger. I had the privilege several times of davening Shachris in the presence, in the minyan of Rabbi Kanievsky Zatzal. In general, every time I daven, I have to struggle to achieve kavana, to focus my entire being on the words I'm saying to Hashem. I cannot remember when I have ever been satisfied with my davening. The Yetzer Hara, the evil inclination, is right there trying to stop my tefillahs, my prayers, from rising to the presence of Hashem. There was one exception. And that was when I davened in the presence of Reb Chaim Zatzal. The Yetzer Hara, the evil inclination, the Satan, was not allowed in his presence. It was banished. I had no trouble davening when I was with him. His power was prodigious. This is what we have lost. The entire world is now in terrible danger. Our great rabbi has left us. Our shmira, our protection has been taken away. Like the days in Mitzrayim, after the Shvatim died, the tribes, leaders, the progenitors of the tribes died, leaving their children defenseless against those who wanted to enslave them and fill the world with impurity and idolatry. This is the case in the entire world today. The stage is prepared either for worldwide catastrophe, God forbid, or worldwide redemption, or perhaps both. It all depends on whether we hold on to Hashem and His Torah with all our strength. I do not think it's irresponsible to speak this way. I may be wrong, but if I'm correct, then we all need to take this situation very seriously and rectify our lives in order to prepare for and survive the coming day of judgment, which appears to be very close. As the prophet Malachi says, and I quote, "For behold, the day is coming, burning like an oven, when all the wicked people and all the evildoers will be like straw, and that coming day will burn them up," says Hashem, Master of legions, "so that it will not leave them a root or branch, but a sun of righteousness will shine for you who fear my name, with healing in its rays, and you will go out and flourish, and you will trample the wicked, for they will be like ashes under the soles of your feet. On that day that I will bring about," says Hashem, Master of legions. Good Shabbos.